Going into kind of today's scrimmage, I think just to recap kind of where we're at, it was fun to get in pads. I thought our guys reacted well. We've had, as you guys are well aware being here, we've had some steamy afternoons. Thought there were really two practices that, would push the envelope as far as making it truly uncomfortable, especially towards the end of practice. I saw some guys originally kind of maybe questioning if they were prepared to be able to finish, and yet as it kind of wore on, you saw guys kind of realizing, yeah, I can. And so I saw some guys really push through it, and that was good to see, especially with a short yardage kind of period that was done in a rapid fire phase, and there were guys saying, no, I'm going, and that's good. That's a good thing. One of the things of concern, obviously, is always tackling, and the way that properly tackle. I've been excited to see the development of those drills, wrapping up, keeping your head out, keeping your feet moving, bringing your hips underneath, these things like that, especially with the young defensive backs. I think at first it was maybe something new. I think the last couple sessions, they've come a long ways, and let's see how it translates to today's scrimmage. I think that's the big piece there. The scrimmage part tonight, twofold. It's something we talk about with the young guys. This is their opportunity to make the team, be it on special teams, which they will be stressed against the ones. And I'm really looking forward to seeing where they and how they compete to go get a job. And that's, to me, the big stress on this first scrimmage is see those guys who are ready, willing, able, all that kind of stuff, and more than that, their first opportunity to play in the swamp, even in a sterile environment. There's something pretty special about that, and to see those guys' eyes even kind of perk up when they come out of that tunnel for the first time ever playing in the swamp. I'm excited to see if the environment, how they handle that piece of it, and we're looking to get probably tonight about somewhere between 90, 92 to, just depends on some special team situations and this and that, maybe up to about 110, somewhere in there. And but most of those will be with guys to see if they're going to be able to make the team. And who are those guys is going to be the next question. Well, it's the guys who haven't made the team yet. How's that? Okay, so that's what we're looking for. And the quarterbacks will roll. The three of them will roll in the move the field stuff, kind of at the same pace. Now some are the same rep count, yet some of that is the team's got to move when you're in there. So a guy with lesser rep count means he didn't move the team. And so I think when you look at it from that standpoint, that kind of shows you what's going on. As you know, it's how does the team really elevate themselves around you? Also, how do you move a team that maybe isn't as equipped to roll against whoever they're going against? So that looks as well in play calling, but more than that, how the quarterback handles that. I'm looking forward to putting them in stressful situations. We'll do some specific situational work outside of just the normal movement of the scrimmage. I really want to see how we handle end-of-game situations. I want to see how we handle overtime and before the half situations. Those will be things that we'll be evaluating heavily from that position. But like I said, it'll be pretty balanced as we go through there. So injury updates. We're going to hold a few guys that would normally go, all right, so don't read anything into it. But guys that are definitely out, Ciante is going to be out. Elijah Conliff is going to be held out. Kadeem will be held out today. C.J. McWilliams is still, he should be back a lot of these guys should be back on Sunday is kind of what the trainer's saying, but we'll see at that point. Definitely Quincy Linton and Kylan Johnson would be two more, and then Garrett Stevens bunged up a knee, but good news, it's not surgery, but he'll be out for a couple of weeks anyway as that thing recovers. So, and then Jordan Sherritt, who's been going through individual drills, has not been in a true team situation. He's been in our 2, 3, and 4 spot stuff, but he won't start back doing that until Monday, and it appears that he'll be ready to go. Both Riles and Riles has been going a ton. Harkless as well. Those guys seem to be back. We got to get them in shape. That's the big piece there. Today's going to be an opportunity for them to do that. So, other than that, health-wise, you know, there hasn't been anything that has been season-ending or anything like that. More preventative than any, more preventative from that standpoint. So, with that, take some questions.
Edgar? Sorry. Excuse me. So have you seen the level of competition from the quarterbacks that you were expecting?
Yeah, and actually a little bit more than I was expecting. I think with Malik coming in has really elevated both Felipe and Luke, and I see a real drive, you know, to get those reps. And really more than anything, what I've seen is the importance and singular importance of each rep, no matter what the drill is. Those guys are competing at every whether it's routes on airs to, you know, end the game 2 minute. You know, I mean, it's been really good.
Yeah, I know we always ask you for timetables.
Yeah.
And you maybe.
You know, I think first scrimmage, I'm not sure. There should be some answers, I think, and yet I don't know that. If I had a crystal ball, I probably wouldn't be doing what I'm doing. You and I would be at the track together probably every day, right?
Sure.
And you know, I wouldn't, again, as I talked about earlier, putting them in some situations maybe they haven't been as good at, but we'll find out in the swamp tonight.
Is there ideally, though, looking ahead to Michigan, where you've got one guy working with the first team by X time?
Yeah, you know, maybe, I don't know that there's an ideal. You know, we'll find out.
We don't see a whole lot of practice, but just visually it seems that Felipe is, I mean, his confidence just seems way higher than it was.
No, it's way higher than it was. And like I said, I think going back to what Edgar talked about a little bit, that elevation of the competition, I've really seen those guys say, you know what, I got to go. And that's a good thing.
And then here's a random question. The video boards that you guys have.
The old random question. Okay.
The the boards that you have, what are the purpose of those?
Well, first off, Paul, one of the things in education is instant feedback. So we're able to, in some of the even 2 and 3 spot stuff, when another group's going, you're able to teach immediately off a replay that just occurred. So like, you know, you say, hey, look, you gotta, you know, keep your outside arm free when you're ripping through this block. And they're kind of like, hey, what, you know, I don't really remember. I was just trying to go block the guy. Well, now you're able to show it immediately. So it comes from an educational tool, kind of where it's happening. I got it, and I know some people have been using it, but something that the instant feedback, even being able to put it on an iPad and see it at practice. There's a lot of basketball teams that during practice they'll go run something and you'll say, hey, you know, you didn't get in your spot to create spacing in the court, and the guy's going, well, yeah, I did. Well, no, come on over here and we'll just show it. Oh, I got you now. Now you're able to go execute it. So it's that's actually kind of where I got it, was actually out the basketball court, talking to basketball coaches, and then obviously the other piece for us is to, going into that first game, is have that there So they're at least semi-used to, you know, that big thing that's in the middle of the field at the place we're playing, right?
Robbie?
Early impression of the two freshman tailbacks?
Ahead of where maybe I thought they'd be. I think both these guys will make our team.
Ryan?
So a year ago you said, I'm just joking.
I love it.
So we had Antonius here yesterday, and he acknowledged that he was pretty far behind the playbook last year. What's the growth you've seen in his understanding, and how does that translate to the field for him this year and his abilities?
We've got a bunch of Antonius.
Of the family Clayton.
Yeah, there we go. That's what I figured. But here's what I said. I think before it was all just about trying to go get a sack, you know, which sometimes you get out of your brush lanes. You know, it's like just how do I go do that? Well, there's more to it than that. And what I've seen him is that point of attack, understanding his gap, where he needs to be, not to get out of, and really his growth and strength. I mean, you saw the guy, and look at how much different he's looked since he did when he walked in here as a freshman. I do know this, he still will be a threat and should be a weapon for us in some third down, you know, rabbit packages and some things like that where, you know, play to his strengths, but let's continue to help him be an every down player, and that's what he's been working on. I'm proud of him.
And then Quincy Linton's injury situation, is that hurting him from competing for a job again?
Yeah, well, I think anytime, I mean, not just him. I mean, you can say that about whoever misses practice when you're in a battle. The big piece is how do you come back and what did you learn when you weren't in there? And how far behind are you? Or how far ahead are you based on that too? So, but he will be a guy that he's going to have to be not only playing on the field, but be a core special team guy for us as well.
Mark?
Your instant feedback deal there, how much of that is taking advantage of technology versus maybe kids today?
Yeah, no, they feel more comfortable. It's like this, even like filling out forms. You know, the old here's your form, here, sign, you know, do this. Well, they're more comfortable using their iPads, and they get through it like that. It's just that is just the technology, and I love it. I think it's great, and how they learn, I think, is what you're hitting on. They feel more comfortable with that, even to the point, you know, reading off a card, you know, what to do, yet visually seeing the formation up there, and they go, oh, okay, I got you. You know, it's just that they're used to it, and that's how they play their games, right? And so for us, it's something that's been really good. We tested them in the spring, and yeah, we're going to need more of them, and we'll get there.
Well, and what basketball coach?
This one actually goes back to Larry Eustace, who was doing it when I was at Colorado State, and I remember watching practice, and I was like, now what, fill me in on the big screen over here in the corner of the end zone, or in the corner of the facility, and he'd have them all, even between drills. The instant feedback piece, man, I just thought it was really effective.
Edgar?
Yeah, the running back competition, kind of like the QB. I mean, there are 5 guys.
Getting back there now, don't give Larry the like he invented this stuff, all right? I mean, I guarantee you he did. You know, no, exactly. So let's not. I don't need his ego to go up anymore. Okay.
That wasn't on video.
All right, good.
I won't blackmail you.
You can send that to Larry. I'm good with that.
So talking to, I think, Voshan, he was like, every rep with these guys, I mean, they're running extremely hard. I mean, they're making the most of each one. Is that kind of what you're seeing similar to the quarterback?
Yeah, and I think what you're hitting on is that competition piece. I think we've got guys even, and I'm not sure, as young guys, that they weren't just happy to be in there. Now they're in there with a purpose. You know, I see them running through contact, playing with some pad level, working extra on catching the ball, because we've got to use those guys as you know, you think of some of the plays that Michael made in the open field last year, catching the ball. You know, I mean, they see the importance of that. So I like the way. Look, I'm putting it. We've been okay. We've been, you know, whatever. Been to Atlanta and all that stuff, but we're not good enough. And pushing us through average is really what I want to get done, and we'll see. You know, I'm not making predictions, but that's what we have to do. And those things, like you're talking about, the running through contact and the physicality of what and how they're playing, only carries over to a game. Like I said, this camp is not easy on these guys.
Tony, how's he looking at receiver?
Every day gets better. Here's the amazing thing. When you look at the production piece, just the sheer production piece, now some of it is also, you know, who they're against, which is why this scrimmage, like even today, is going to be big for him. But when you look at our third down and red area, this guy's showed up in the production piece of it. And he's got natural hands, and he's got some make-you-miss ability.
May I ask one more, please?
Go ahead.
Okay. Martez Ivy is okay?
Yeah, he practiced well yesterday, and he'll go today as well.
So when you look at the line, potentially, it could be the Central Florida corridor, could be like 4 of those guys could be starters. How integral is that area to maintaining the foothold? How fertile has it been for this?
Well, I think, you know, we'll go over wherever the best ones are, but obviously for us, if those best ones are in those areas, that's a point of emphasis for us first and foremost, with geography being the #1 thing in recruiting. And, you know, that's good. I don't ever look at it as, you know, a certain area like that, but that's pretty cool.
From, I guess, like an architect standpoint, how do you build a scrimmage? Is it based on what you've seen, what you need to get better on, or hey, we still need to get better on this, but we also need to work these areas too?
Sure.
How do you build those 110, 90 plays?
So, going into it, okay, first of all, play the players. Who do we need to see in what areas, right? 2, create as many game-like substitution periods where everybody's off the field. You know, officials throwing penalties from sideline management to, you know, illegal formation, you know, whatever it is, illegal substitution, that kind of stuff. Putting in the special teams interspersed as we're playing move. So we're trying to create as many of those type things so the guys got to focus on what's going on, not just, here, you got 6 reps and then the next guys go, but actually the flow of the game. What we do from the exact situation piece, like yesterday, for example, we had coming out, we didn't handle it well defensively, handled it well offensively. Well, now's an opportunity to get that corrected in a, you know, high-spirited, competitive deal. We take some of those that we need to work on each side of the ball and emphasize some of those as we're going. Now, today will be the first time we'll play overtime. Now, obviously, we've played red area, we've introduced overtime, but here's another situation where we split the teams and actually create an overtime competitive situation, and then coach off of whatever happens.
I saw you guys scheduled LSU for homecoming. Just kidding.
You did. That took me a while. I kind of forgot all about that. In fact, you just took me to when I got off the plane from Montana. So,
Bringing it back.
yeah, it was. When was that? So,
With Kylan out, how is Jeremiah Moon looked with his
no,
national snaps?
this has been, and this is what's interesting, and this actually happened in another position where a guy kind of missed a little bit, and all of a sudden, and I'm going to go, Kerry Clark missed with a sickness, just couldn't go. Well, all of a sudden, Kyrie I mean, it was like he was a new guy. So then, as Kerry came back, Kerry starts with the twos, you know, and so that's how you build that competition piece. I think in Jeremiah's case, missing as much as he did kind of last year with the injury after he got hurt, this has been invaluable for him. His flexibility both to play at linebacker and nickel in some situations. I mean, very rarely do you see a guy wearing number 50 out in space playing nickel versus blue teams or 11 personnel teams or even red teams. But with that, this guy's so darn long, he's got a great understanding. I think he's learning the versatility piece.
Last question, Chris?
Jim and Nina had come up a lot in here has been David Reese. Does that speak to the fact that how settled that is at that position and where he is with that?
I think that's a really great observation. He's kind of that guy that's kind of the nuts and bolts of where we're at on defense and really plays the way you're supposed to. Has been doing a great job of communicating. And with that being said, he just always kind of makes plays. He's in the right spot. He's a little sneaky, you know, being able to run through gaps. I say sneaky affectionately, but I think that's a great observation. I mean, I think this guy is solidified and really helps us be a good defense.
He's a tactician,
or
a technician more than an overly physical guy. Would you say that?
Yeah, and yet, you know, you see some of the plays he made last year when he hit them, they kind of went backwards. That's kind of a good thing. And I think he's a natural football player. You know, his dad was a heck of a player. I think he grew up with it. The instincts, I think, is really maybe the word that comes to mind. He plays with great instincts.